The topic of this video is how do we find the equation of a straight line demand curve?
And the math behind the economics is finding the equation of a line.
So with regards to demand curves, sometimes we have an equation and we want to plot it as a curve, but sometimes we have a curve and we want to know the underlying equation. And note that in economics we call things curves even if they are straight lines. So for example, if we know that this is, if we have this demand curve here, how could we find the underlying equation that corresponds to this demand curve?
In order to answer such a question, we need to be able to find the equation of a line. That means that we're going to be given the graph of a line, and we want to find the equation whose graph is that exact line. And in order to do this, we're going to need 2 points on the line. And again, when we think about the equation of a line, it means that every point on the line, the coordinates will satisfy that equation, that is, make that equation true, and any points whose coordinates satisfy that equation, make the equation true, are on the line. That point would be on the line. So how do we do it? The first step for finding the equation of a line is identifying 2 points. So we use this abstract notation x1, y1, and x2, y2 for 2 arbitrary points on the line. Then we have to find the slope between those 2 points. So that's rise, the change in y, over run, the change in x. That's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It doesn't actually matter which order we go, as long as we go in the same order on the top as we do on the bottom. And then we write the equation. The equation is y minus y1 is equal to m, the slope, times x minus x1. And then in general, you'll want to solve for y, so you have y equals mx plus b. This is called slope-intercept form. B is the y-intercept. So let's do an example. Let's find the equation of this line. So my 2 points are given to me here. P1, I'll call this point P1. P1 is the point 1, 2. And this point here I'll call P2. P2 is the point 3, 4. So this will give me my x1, y1, and this gives me my x2, y2. So I have my 2 points. That's step 1 is complete. Step 2 is to find the slope. The slope is going to be y2. So m is the slope, y2 is 4, minus y1 is 2, divided by x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is 1, and I end up with 2 over 2, or a slope of 1. Step 3 is to write the equation. So the equation is y minus y1, which is 2 in this case, is equal to m, the slope, times x minus x1, which is 1 in this case. And then I'm going to write it in slope-intercept form, which tells me that y equals x minus 1 plus 2. And so I have that y equals x plus 1. And that will tell me actually also that the y-intercept is 1, because that is my b. And here's the same line again, where just my points are changed. So if I were to use the same process I just used before, where P1 was the point now 0, 1, and P2 was the same point as before, P2 was 3, 4, and I went through step 1, 2, 3, and 4, of course I would end up with the same equation again, y equals x plus 1. No matter which points you use, you end up with the same equation.
Okay, now let's solve the problem with the straight line demand curve presented earlier. First, let's find the slope. So let's use any 2 points on the line. Let's choose the points on the vertical and the horizontal axis. So our original price is 0, quantity is 4. Our second price is quantity 0 and price is 20. So if we use the formula for the slope, the rise over the run, the change in price is negative 20, the change in quantity is 4, so the slope of the line is negative 5. Okay, recall the equation for the line, y equals mx plus b. If we put that in terms of the economics variables here, price is equal to the slope times the quantity plus the intercept. We note that the price intercept is 20. We've already solved for the slope as -5. So the equation for the demand curve is price is equal to -5Q plus 20. Other times we need to find the equations for lines. We can visualize and think about linear supply curves, total revenue curves, aggregate supply and demand curves, money supply, money demand, and so on.
Now we've seen how to use the math behind the economics to find the equation of a linear demand curve. Thank you for listening.